Oh yeah, we back with another episode here on the Twisted T2, baby, where we like to read these Reddits to you. And well, we got one lady asking that question: is she the A? She wants to know if she's the A because she played a voice recording to prove to her friend that her daughter isn't nonverbal. So let's give you some context. We have a 30-year-old female who has a friend that is 34, and that 34-year-old has a nonverbal daughter who's 3. We're gonna call that kid Allie. Okay, the 30-year-old friend watches Allie 4 days out of the week in an in-home daycare. The person also requires contracts for every child, and the mom never filled out the special needs section. And at no point when she was asked to take Allie on did she mention that she had a speech delay or a speaking issue. So the mom wasn't upfront about that. Now, although Allie doesn't speak much at first, the babysitter figured that she was just being shy. She communicated with her for her needs as well as small things, and she communicated with her pretty frequently. Last month, the babysitter was in the bathroom, had the door cracked a wedge just so that she could listen for danger, and that while she's doing her business, nobody was in there peeking. Sure enough, she says Allie walks by the 3-year-old and goes, "Ew, you stinky." Babysitter says she was shocked. Look, I was shocked. I laughed. I told her mom when she picked her up about what she said. And her mom said to me, "She isn't verbal. Why would you mock her?" I reassured her that Allie has spoken to me quite a few times. And well, I thought that it was a huge milestone from when she first arrived and barely said anything to anyone. She told me she didn't believe me and that it's messed up that I would make up something like that to upset her. I told her that I wasn't trying to upset her, but I wasn't lying either. And I didn't press that issue any further. Here's where the babysitter says that the babysitter could be the asshole. You see, the babysitter decided to go ahead and record Allie. That's right. She said she didn't record her face, just her voice, right? Telling me her name, Allie, and what her favorite animal is. Okay? Allie, I like dogs, right? Babysitter has full intention to show the mom the recording, but was scared at first because of how the mom would blow up at her, and she really didn't know how she was going to react. So after a few weeks of pickups and after a few pickups and drop-offs, the mom told her that it was all water under the bridge and she didn't really want to talk about it anymore. She even insisted that I went to the birthday party. That's right, Allie's birthday party. After all of it happening, well, the babysitter is just really happy that Allie could actually speak, right? Babysitter also goes ahead and forgets that she even has that recording. Let's fast forward. So Friday comes around last month, and well, she's at that birthday party for her other child. So one of Allie's other siblings. At the party, I was socializing with other family members. Honestly, I'm a total dumbass for forgetting that her family fully thought that she was nonverbal. I mentioned some of the funny things that Allie said to me while I read books to her. Turns out the person that she was talking to just so happened to be her friend's sister. That's right, Allie's aunt, who started yelling at her, telling her, "Allie is nonverbal. Why are you lying? Nobody like to be called a liar." Both her and her sister began berating me and saying that I was fucked up, that I'm making this up about Allie being nonverbal. At this point, I'm tired of being called a liar. And well, I have 2 disabled children whom my son was nonverbal for many years, so I wouldn't even lie about something like this. So while everybody was staring at me, I was scared and I felt backed into the corner. So I remembered that I had the recording. Decided to prove my case and played a voice recording. Everybody was shocked. Damn right they were shocked. And my friend told me to leave. Piece of shit. I told her I didn't really want to cause an issue, but I'm not going to sit here and be treated like this and called a liar. Now she says I crossed the line because I recorded her daughter and that I'm an asshole for embarrassing her at the party. Now I feel horrible. And I'm wondering if I should just let it go. We're going to get a little bit of an edit, it looks like, for some clarification and some extra context. You see, whenever she would pick up and drop off, she would ask me things like, how's her nap? How'd she eat? You know, and I'd hand her a daily report. Then she would leave, not stay for a small talk, even when I would try to initiate. I know people have busy lives, so I'm not going to try to make them stay and talk to me about their life story. I also didn't do the recording to embarrass her in any way. I didn't mean any vindication by it. I can't admit I should have shown her immediately after I recorded it, but I'm also human. I was afraid of getting blown up on a second time. Then after saying it was water under the bridge, it was just like made me feel happy that she wasn't going to take Allie away. So I put it in the back of my mind and forgot all about that. I feel bad about how I went about my defense, hence this post. I know it was a little unprofessional, maybe unethical. I apologize profusely to everybody at the party as well as the family. I will be putting cameras in my home that everybody will have access to see, as updated all the contracts to let the parents know what's going on and what's happening moving forward. Peace of mind for everybody sounds good to me. Also, I'll be making a call to CPS about the situation and see what they have to say. Oh, well, damn. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words. Oh, shit. Now, I won't lie to you. I don't feel like you the asshole, but I definitely feel for this child. Now, I won't lie to you. I don't feel you the asshole, but I definitely feel for this child. And I understand why you would make the recording to basically let them know that the child does speak and something else has to be going on serious if the child isn't speaking at home, which is actually really sad. All right. I will also say that, you know, there are parents out there who do want for their kids to, well, really be in the system so that they can make the money off of them. So this mom might be trying to play the system later, which is why she's like, well, if she's not speaking, I can get paid and I'll keep it that way. And that's even more messed up. All right. Obviously, we won't really know because we're not there. But judging from what you've told us, I'm going to be completely honest with you, lady. This lady's not your friend. Okay? She's not your friend. And if she was your friend, she wouldn't come at you in the way that she does. And she would probably be very excited at the fact that you was able to help and make her, not necessarily make, but help her daughter with her speech. Okay? This speaks to, she's getting zero attention at home. And it's going to play a part. So I am glad that you was able to bring that out of this child and getting this child to communicate, because that's very important. And let's be even more honest with each other while we're there. Just because a kid doesn't speak at the age of 3, it doesn't make them nonverbal. All right? Nowadays, there's so much going on. And again, especially if you're not being spoken to in the homes or taught things, you're not going to be speaking. All right? So you're not the A. Your friend is an asshole. Let's dive into these comments and see what they got to say. You know, I know you said you was going to call, what's that? CPS. And for those who don't know, it's Child Protective Services, okay? About the situation. And that's, well, I kind of get what you're coming from. But if you like, it's messy because if you haven't seen bruises on this child, and you haven't seen any actual physical abuse, right? Like, yeah, granted, she's not allowing this child to speak. Like I said, she may be doing that on purpose, right? That might be one of those lines where, you know, you may be overstepping your boundaries, right? I'm sure you wouldn't want anyone just calling CPS on you now. So let's see what these comments have to say. But even then, I still don't think you're the asshole for that. All right. Not the A. I can imagine what this child is going through. what this child is going through, being treated like she's completely nonverbal when that's not the case. In fact, I can't help but wonder if the way her mother seems to react may have a part to play in why she is not verbal around her. That's a good point. And she's telling all her family members she don't talk. That being said, you did the right thing to bring it to the mother's attention in a polite and calm manner. Her reaction was unreasonable, abrasive, as any parent of a nonverbal child would be over the moon to hear that their child's beginning to make progress. That's my point. I don't think recording the child's voice was wrong. You weren't posting it all over the internet. You weren't going behind the mother's back and showing people the recording, and you only did it after she berated you for lying, which wasn't the case. You recorded the voice to try and update the mother on her daughter's condition, as having that updated knowledge is important. I would normally say that it may have been a better option to ask permission to record the child's voice, but judging the way that you described the mother, I feel like that probably would have just led to more of a conflict in the first place. I agree with you. Also, she's embarrassed at her party, not the other way around. It's not your fault she's embarrassed for not knowing her child better. Yeah, that's a valid point, but that comes with time and care. And unfortunately, we got a lot of telephone parents these days where they don't spend time or care with their children. Unfortunately, I use the term friend loosely. Yeah, we agree with you. You should use that term loosely. I used to work at the other daycare her daughter went to when she was a baby. I was the baby room lead teacher. I left the daycare about 2 years ago after dealing with other teachers trying to verbally, emotionally abuse toddlers. It's messy. I called the state on them and they told me to keep my mouth shut or I'll be fired. So I left. When she got wind that I had my own home daycare about 2 months ago, she called me and asked for a spot. Up until a month ago, she seemed nice and well put together, but now I'm not sure. This made my call, CPS Sydney, spider singles tingle. What on earth is happening in that home that the child will not talk to her family? That's a good question. Oh, you replied. I used to have Allie at the daycare I was previously working when she was baby, so I ended up leaving. I ended up leaving, borderline. Yup, okay. Did you just repeat the same shit you did on the last one? My friend said she continued at that daycare up until 2 months ago. She confided in me saying that Allie was abused at daycare but didn't get into details. I told her why I left the daycare, and that's when she asked me for a spot in my home care, and I obliged. Since then, I've noticed that Allie gets scared very easily. If she drops something, she's immediately scared and says, I'm sorry. Damn, that's never good. But other than that, I haven't really seen other signs. But I'm also not a psychologist of any sort. I've taken some classes before on child abuse, but I think I need a refresher course. Yeah, there's a little bit of trauma in this poor 3-year-old already, and that's really unfortunate because whether it had been at that daycare or at home, this poor little girl's being mistreated. Not the A. Why are they fixated on the child being nonverbal like it's some kind of a badge or an honor? Are they getting some kind of benefits out of it? Well, that was my thing, right? It had to be more to it. I'm not really sure. Oh, she answered back. I'm not really sure. My son was nonverbal until he was almost 5. His first words that came out was pizza, and I loved it. So we threw a pizza party. Right. Again, like I said earlier, nowadays, nonverbal at 3 is a thing. And realistically, they may know what they want to say and just not know how to say it because of what's going on in different situations. And then not to mention, you also have several of them learning different languages in the home. So there's a lot of different variables going on with kids these days. This is a bizarre reaction to hearing nonverbal daughter speaking. I wouldn't be I would be elated nor mad at the messenger. I wonder if they don't want her to speak. That's my thing. I don't think they want this little girl to speak. And that's messy. This reaction seems bizarre. I mean, mom does want her child to be a nonverbal, or is she embarrassed that she discovered that her child is in fact a verbal and chooses not to speak? But you're not DA. Yep. Your friend's behavior is bizarre, and it seems like it might be harmful for this kid. She is acting like her child has a disability when there might not be one, denying her abilities, well, to the end why she is a dead set on her child being nonverbal. And that, to me, is a far cry away from encouraging the kid to not speak or otherwise chasing pity, attention, or other benefits as the parent of the child who, an imaginary intellectual disabled / trauma or someone with an issue that would cause some disruption to the development. Look, like we've been telling you all, listen, it's unfortunate at what's going on in this situation. I have some friends like this too. She would communicate just fine with her immediate family and some friends, but she was silent at school and otherwise. It's kind of interesting that this kid will talk to other people instead of her family, but I guess if they act like the way it's described here, I can see why. So this person is basically writing, talking about how would they know Allie's voice if they've never heard Allie's voice? And somehow, if you went and recorded it and sent that to me and showed me, well, I wouldn't believe that was my kid. Allie's recording went like this. Teacher, good morning, Allie. Her, morning, hungry. Me, can you tell me your name while I make you some breakfast? Her, Allie, want pancake. Great job, your name is Allie. I'm gonna make you some special pancakes. Let's make your favorite animal. Can you tell me what your favorite animal is in the whole wide world? Her, elephant. Wow, an elephant? I think I can make that. Can you tell me what sound an elephant makes? Trumpet noises. Fantastic. I'm so proud of you. Her, yay. That was the conversation that Allie had put out. So, with her name in there, there's no way to say that you don't know that that's your child. All right? Not for nothing, but big up to you, teacher, for doing what you were supposed to do and continuing to help further this kid's education. The mom of this child, well, you're a piece of shit. And I know they don't want us talking about y'all like that on this, but I'm gonna be honest with you, piece of shit. Because if you don't want your child to talk, or you don't want to help with your child to talk, and you don't want to even listen or take in some time or even attempt to hear what the person who technically is spending a little bit more time with your child than you, then you a piece of shit and you are the asshole. So don't worry, karma comes back. Period. End of story. And that's why I tell y'all every day, keep your head on a swivel, because you don't know if that person on the left or the right of you is that piece of shit. Okay? So, remember, always keep that head on a swivel, because people don't always have your best interest at hand. And with that being said, well, we getting out of here. I hope you enjoyed the day, and thank you for checking out another episode of the Twisted Tea 2, where we come to bring these Reddits to you. Peace out.